Hi everybody, Ed Berger from the TackleDirect Pro Staff. Welcome back to another one of our great instructional, informative videos. You know, there's a lot of them on the internet today. I've got Greg Stotesbury here. Greg's from Aftco Products, and we're going to go through some of these harnesses. You stick with us. Greg, welcome to TackleDirect.
Yeah.
It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Ed. Nice to be here.
Everybody knows the name Aftco, but I don't know if anybody knows the background behind it. Can you tell us a little bit about Aftco, the company, before we get into some of these great products?
Sure. It's Aftco stands for the American Fishing Tackle Company, and we've been around for almost 60 years now.
All right, well, let's talk about some of the harnesses, because I know that along with gaffs and everything else, which we'll talk about in different segments, I know that when people, look at Aftco, they think about the harnesses. And I'm really interested not only in talking about the product itself, but the proper use of the product and the proper way to wear the product, because I think that's where a lot of people make mistakes.
It is, and we can talk about that and give you some instruction here on exactly how to adjust the gear. I frequently see people wearing the harnesses and the pads, and they really have them completely out of adjustment. They're wearing them way too high. And if there's any one single thing with a pad and harness, you want to get the load down low, where you're taking the pressure with your legs and not with your upper body. Your lower body's a lot stronger, your hips, the muscles in your legs, that's where you want to be pulling. You don't want to be pulling with your arms or with your shoulders. Even though with our shoulder harness it does go over the shoulder, it allows you to distribute that load in a way that even a person that's not real big or real physical can still pull hard enough to land a nice big tuna or a marlin or whatever.
All right, so let's button up here and we'll grab a rod and we'll show the folks the right way to put one of these babies on.
I'm going to start out by putting the gloves on.
All right, there you go.
And of course we make the Aftco gloves in all different styles for different types of fishing and wiring and all those kinds of things. But the little short pump gloves are great just to protect your hands so you don't get blisters, because even with the gear used properly, if you're on a big fish for a length of time, you got to worry about your hands, and your hands get blistered up. So I'll start out by doing that. The first harness we're going to show is the Aftco, the Max Force 2 shoulder harness, which is our lighter harness. Take a second here and get it. They're all made out of a closed cell foam. Closed cell foam is easy on you when you're pulling on a fish. Mm-hmm. The straps don't collapse through the product, so it keeps your body protected from excessive amounts of pressure. But basically with the shoulder harness, which we recommend mostly for lighter tackle, the guy's using 50 pound and below, or with spinning tackle, the shoulder harness makes lots of sense. The key with the shoulder harness is we've got multiple ladder locks. These are called ladder locks. This is what you use to adjust the straps on the harness. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is pull up on them so you can take in, or if you pull up on them like this, you can take down. Same with the straps down here. What you want to try to do with the harness when you get it on is you want to try to balance the load as much as you can between your shoulders and your lower body. Now, if I'm pulling exceptionally hard with spinning gear, I'm probably going to put more of the load up here.
Right.
If I'm pulling hard with conventional gear, I'm going to put more of the load down a little bit lower. So I'll go ahead and I'm just going to snap these together. These little carabiner hooks are what we recommend. They're strong, they won't up and up. A lot of guys take these and they take the little gate right here and they put a pair of pliers on it and they break it off so that they can easily get in and out of these.
Right.
That works great, nothing wrong with doing that. I'll put the smaller belt on here just to demonstrate.
Why don't we step right around front so everybody can see.
This is our Aftco Alejos belt, which is our smallest belt that we make. We recommend it for tackle up to about 50 pound test, ideal for 20 and 30. It's smaller so that it doesn't spread the load out as much as the bigger pads do, but it's more comfortable to wear and easy to walk around the boat on. We have the quick clips on the corner, so it's very easy to get in and out of the part. And that's something that we're the only ones that have that, but it really makes it simple to get in and out of the belt. This belt wants to be worn down low like this, so you're taking the load on your legs right here, not up here in your stomach.
Here we go.
Starting out with the conventional gear, you want to take the straps. And I always like to, when I put the straps on the outfit, you notice that the gate, the opening is to the outside. Okay, so everything to the outside. And what that does is that makes it much easier if you have to open this gate to get out of the harness. It's really easy to get on it and do that and open it up. Now you notice the balance here with the gear makes about an equilateral triangle between here, my body, and the distance out to the reel. You notice the reel's in pretty close to my body.
Right.
This being the lighter harness, the shoulder harness, you don't have to have the gear quite as tight as you do with the hip harness with the Max Force 1. But When this gear is adjusted right, you're going to spread the load between the upper straps and the lower straps. With conventional gear like this, if I'm going to be pulling harder, I might decide to take the lower ladder locks and pull it in a little tighter, so I'm taking more of the load down low, which allows me to pull harder. Now with this gear, when you're harnessed up, I always like to keep a hand down on the reel or down on the foregrip of the rod, and I'm not lifting and slacking the harness. I'm doing all the work with my legs. So by bending my legs, I'm able to take a wind on the reel. So I'm going to bend my legs and load the rod. As the rod tip comes up, I'm going to take a wind on the reel. So the whole key to this is taking the load down here in your hips, in your lower body, and use your legs. You want to keep your legs bent, keep your weight centered back over your feet with your knees bent a little bit. That's the key. This is not the way to pull. You don't want to be out over the gear like this. You want to have the gear be underneath you so you're sitting into it, and then keep your hand down here, this hand on the reel. No reason to do a lot of lifting here. That's what this is all doing for you. So it's spreading the load out. A nice thing about the closed cell foam that we have in these pads, you're not feeling these straps cut into you, so it's comfortable. So that's the lighter set of gear with the Max Force 2 shoulder harness. That's how the gear should be adjusted if you're going to be pulling. Now with spinning gear, which this also will work with, take and get out of this real quick.
I'll pop you out of this one.
The beauty of the shoulder harness is if you've got heavy spinning gear like this, we make a product called a spin strap that's just basically just a piece of nylon webbing that goes around the top of the gear right here that allows you to then take and snap in with a harness and pull with all this heavy jigging gear and all these big spinning reels that are designed to catch big fish standing up. This is the harness you want to wear with a spin strap on the front of the rod. This rod's actually got a spot right here where you could put the spin strap on it, but that's going to allow me to then take my harness, clip into the spin strap, and be able to pull just like I did with the conventional gear.
Use the same dynamic of using the long muscles in your legs and your body weight against the fish as opposed to trying to do it with just your arms, which is just, with a bigger fish, it's suicide.
Yeah, you got to do it all down here. It's not a strength thing. It's not a strength contest. This is all about technique. So that's what the harness allows you to do, is get that load spread out, get your body underneath the gear, and pull a lot harder.
All right, now when the target species gets bigger, the harnesses change.
Harnesses change.
Let's take a look.
Okay, I'm going to go to the bigger belt. Take that off. And we'll undo this. Okay. This is the AFCO Max Force 1 harness. Again, it's closed cell foam. It's biofoam, so the straps won't pull through it. No matter how hard you pull, it's not going to collapse this stuff down. We also put a synthetic terry cloth liner on the inside. This does two things. It keeps you cool, keeps you from getting chafed, but this stuff also has some grip to it, some tooth. It's almost like a Velcro type of grip to it. So when you put it on your body, it's not going to be sliding around like some of the nylon finished harnesses on the inside. It's really comfortable. So again, the key with this harness is adjustment. And I like to do all this, of course, in advance of actually pulling on a fish. Get this thing buckled up, and here's the secret right here. The secret is to have this thing down low. You want this right at your belt, and you want this down underneath your rear. So you're doing all your pulling from down low. This does not want to be up underneath your armpits. And I see it all the time in videos. Guys are fighting fish. They're out over the gear like this. They're struggling, and they got this thing under their armpits, so their lower back is doing all the pulling. I want to be pulling from down here.
Gotcha.
So belt-wise, this is our Socorro belt, which is our medium-sized belt. Good for 50 and 80 pound tackle. You could use it for heavier tackle if you wanted to. But again, it's bigger, spreads the load out. It's all stamped aluminum with a cold-molded pad that we put on here, and it's all closed cell foam, so it's not going to absorb any water. We've also got an adjustable gimbal. We give you a little wrench in here, so if you want to, you can pop the gimbal cap up, and some guys prefer to use a vertical gimbal.
Straight.
So you can move the pin, especially if you're fishing like the AFCO short bent unibutt, you might want to have this pin up and down. That's something that a lot of guys prefer for heavier tackle. Now, we have drop strap hooks on the belt right here. So if you want to, you can put some AFCO drop straps on this, but for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm just going to buckle it around my waist. So let me take the harness off real quick, and we'll put the belt on first. I'll get you to hold that for a second. And again, we've got the quick clips on the belt, so it's a piece of cake to get into. You just put those on and snap in. Notice the adjustment of the belt. I've got it down nice and low, just like I'm going to do with the harness.
So I have to come clean. I've been fishing with this harness probably now for 4 or 5 years, and I can tell you that in comparison to a lot of the other ones that I've tried, this is a really it's very comfortable. I mean, it's a very comfortable piece of equipment to work with. In a lot of cases, and also for the faceplates, which in a lot of cases I had problems with some of the other faceplates because they were slipping across my lower thighs. These really, because of the backing on the faceplate, was really holding very nicely, and I'm a big fan of these.
That's good to hear.
Real big fan of
the
these.
The ergonomics was really a big deal to us, and we played around with all kinds of different designs. We actually we mocked this thing up in SLA models, which are basically computer-made models of the actual part made from the digital file. And we played around a lot with this pad, with the amount of texturing that we've got on it, with these grooves that you see in the back right here. We really spent a lot of time with getting the comfort proper, even before we chose the materials or anything else. So it's good to hear that you like that and
like 'em a lot.
the way it fits. Again, the key here is notice that the load is all on my thighs. So this pad is not up here in my gut where it's soft. It's right down here where I'm taking all the load on the strong part of my body.
Let's get the real gear out.
Actually, let's, yeah, that'd be perfect. That's great. Okay, so we're going to load the gear up. And then on the side here, you'll notice that the hooks I've got here, if you can see this, we rigged this thing stock with one of the carabiner hooks, and this is all stainless steel. These things are super strong. Originally, we had these things rigged with the swiveling dog snaps, and we found that guys that are putting a lot of heat on the gear, that it was possible to break those snaps. You won't break this, and you won't open this up. I like this type of clip for the real heavy gear just because it's easy to get in and out of. And we give you this clip as well as it comes rigged with this clip, and all you have to do is snap on this one, or you can actually take the webbing off and you can rig it right on there. These things are great, and they're also a safety feature. They're really easy to get in and out of. So I'm going to take these, and you notice again I'm hooking them from the inside out. You always want to go with your clips from the inside out. And then when I go to adjust this, I'll do it on this side so it's easy to see. You notice there's a ladder lock. There's only one adjustment, and the clip floats on the strap. So I'm going to take and I'm going to adjust this up. And I'm going to want to get this gear. Okay, I want the reel close to my body, but again, you want to kind of form an equilateral triangle from the gimbal to the pulling point at the reel back to your body. That wants to be almost an equilateral triangle. Then you want everything down low. You notice I got the gear down low. Everything nice and tight here. Okay, we're ready to rock. And then the pulling with this, the action that you're going to use, again, I like to keep my hand down over the reel. And if you let go of this, I'll go flying back into a tackle display behind me. But you notice that everything is down nice and low. So I'm taking the load down here in my rear and on my hips. I'm not taking any of the load up here. But I do want to keep a hand here for safety, just in case something happens and the line breaks or fish comes at the boat. I can easily, get back to my feet and not go falling over or have the gear come back in my face. Hold this down like this, and all your winding's right here. So the key here is I'm doing all the pulling like this. It's all with my legs. It's not a strength contest. I'm not doing this here. I'm doing everything down here with my legs.
Once again, distributing your body weight against the fish instead of trying to muscle it with your arms, which is the key to any effective harness system.
It's not a strength deal. It's strictly about technique. And when I go to take a wind with this, all I'm going to do is I'm going to get underneath the gear with my legs, and as the rod tip comes up, I'm going to release and take a crank. Down with my legs, release and take a crank. And with these reels, with the 2-speed, you can generate some heavy heat with this stuff, and you can do it comfortably because of the way the gear is designed. But you got to wear it right.
And one more, just a safety feature for those who's ever been tied up to a big fish and worn one of these. This handle on the back is a key feature, by the way, for one of your mates on the boat. If you're fighting a big tuna, if you're fighting big fish, I mean, you never want to be in a situation where you can have the harness work against you from a safety standpoint. And having the handle on the back, something for someone to grab onto when you're fighting a big fish, is a great safety feature as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. We ID'd that early on, mostly because we see a lot of ladies that are fishing in the gear. I got young teenage kids catching big tuna. They want to be safe, so you can grab this handle, and you can steer your angler around on the deck of the boat when it's rough. So it's
important to steer your angler occasionally. That's super. All right, so these are the two belts that we're going to go through in this segment. I want to remind everybody that if you want more information on any of the AFCO gear, any of the AFCO harnesses, that you can talk to one of our product specialists here at TackleDirect during regular business hours. Of course, you can shop 24/7 at TackleDirect.com. If you happen to be up in the Northeast, you really owe it to yourself to stop by our new facility. We're in Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey. 25,000 square feet of fishing. I'm telling you, you won't regret stopping by. Greg, thanks very much for coming in and
Thank
talking
you.
about the
My
AFCO
pleasure.
stuff. I'm Captain Ed Berger from the TackleDirect Pro Staff. We'll see you guys with your AFCO gear out on the water.